Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're having a fantastic weekend. TikTok. Oh my God, is it a long weekend? Certainly feels like it. Just kidding. We have so much stuff to do that, our head's spinning, barely getting our base obligations taken care of. But this is one of them, so we're here, right? And if you're feeling bored, may I recommend options as a strategic investment, right? You read a chapter if you've got some time to pass. That'll be fun, right? Um, Bitcoin's down a little bit, but they're making a big deal out of it apparently this weekend here. But it's not really broken down yet. We have this you know bullish trend line, right? We are on the precipice of this. It might break down, but when you have the mainstream media saying if something's gonna go down. Is it really though, right? So we'll see. Maybe it does, but this is very much primed for a reversal, right? Like we've had a massive retracement here. If we do break down from this, super bearish, I'll agree. And specifically, if we invalidate this order block to the downside, but we could easily bounce here and re-challenge the 200 and eventually overtake it, and away we go, right? So that's really gonna need to play out, right? To be calling that right now is kind of crazy to me, right? We're going to need a candle to open and close below this trend line. Otherwise, it's just liquidity grabs, and specifically in, the crypto market, it's quite volatile. So we don't care about that at all. GameStop has such a small amount of crypto holding, right? If we turn on the cash floor here, this is a really good way to see that, because the only thing that's really moving this intraday is, unless they're doing an offering, is this, right? So if Bitcoin's peaking, 1586, and then if Bitcoin's quote unquote breaking down 1578, right? What is that, 8 cents or something silly? So who cares, right? Yeah, certainly not me. So just because I know a lot of people are like, oh, GameStop owns Bitcoin, we got to pay attention to Bitcoin. You really don't. The amount that it affects GameStop on a day-to-day basis is, 8 cents. It's nothing. It's not worth even looking at, in my opinion. So we don't. And, we'll look at some other stuff today, though, right? Like, first things first is I've not really looked at the charts since market close, right? I did not expect this after hours run up. And then this must have been on confirmation. Oh no, we had confirmation of Burry's post earlier, right? In the pre-market, people were like, oh, Burry's going to post on Monday, right? But a nice buy up into close here. Like that's substantial, specifically for GameStop, a company that rarely trades outside of regular trading hours. Dalton. Hey, dude. So you have not really looked at the charts or much of anything, but I think, we left off sitting pretty nicely on our saved trades, right? Still 104% here, 74%, 45% on our last ads just for the Burry. Down a little bit on the day, but that's fine. And I really want to stress, if you've not scaled out already, first of all, just give your head a shake, right? What do you think you're doing? That's crazy. Second of all, if you want to maybe scale it a little bit more on the post, I think that's a great idea, right? Take advantage of the upwards movement that we'll see. There'll also be like volatility on these contracts as well, right? Because it's going to be moving so quickly. So take advantage of that. I'm not saying you have to sell it all, but you can, like let's say you sold 75%, right? You scaled out appropriately. Maybe sell another 5 or 10%, right? And then you still have, 15 or whatever percent left, depending on how much you scale out more, to go for further upside, which, I'm not going to say it's not going to happen, but, a lot of these things are sell the news type events. But I don't know what Burry's going to say, right? So it could not be, and it could be super bullish and then we're never looking back, right? And I think, I hate to say it, but I think we've already done that, right? This was it, right? This setup here was just textbook, right? And we've had this setup a couple times, and the fact that we keep getting rewarded with it's awesome. So, part of me doesn't want it to kind of, be the end game right now. Now I know everybody wants that, right? Everybody wants GameStop to squeeze, and they're going to be rich. And I'm sure a little bit of volatility I'll accept, great. But I don't want this to be the big event that everybody is thirsting for, right? Because I think that myself in the future will look back at this time and be, I wish we had spent more time at $20, when we're trending far above it. And of course, we could do dilution moves and we're still at $20. Let's say when we're trading at 10.5 billion cap, right? When we're at 50 billion market cap and 75 billion market cap on our way to 100, we're going to be just wishing that we had spent more time at 20, right? So as much as I'd like it to happen, in my opinion, it happening is already a certainty and has been for some time, right? Many of you have similar convictions, right? So if that's already locked in, why not drag it out, right? So that's just in my opinion. The more times we can have an entry model and then have it break down, the better, right? Of course, this could run forever, and that's fantastic, and I'm sure we'll find dips, right, to continue playing the momentum as it comes, but it would be cool if, we popped up and, maybe there's like an offering, right? We raise some more cash for the company, and then we come back down, right? And it's that volatility that I just want to continue to play with personally. Now, I know every trader's different, but you've seen on the channel multiple times now us absolutely nail our entry models, right? Time and time again. And the exits are given by Ryan, right? Of course, we can scale out along the way and do our best, but he's going to come out and he's going to say, you know what, we're offering X million shares at the market, and, the price is going to start plummeting, right? But the reason the price is plummeting is because everybody's taking advantage of that volatility. They're saying, okay, perfect. This is the top. Let's sell. We're scaling out of our core position a little bit. Now, I know that makes some of you uncomfortable, but it's something that you're going to want to get used to, right? This is going to happen a lot more, in my opinion. But let's say GameStop's selling 10% of their shares, and you sell 25%, and then GameStop goes from 35 down to 22, and then you buy all that back in, increasing your holdings, right? Your percentage of ownership, not only competing with and maintaining against the dilutions that are going to happen, but taking advantage of them in such a way that you're beating them, right? So we're diluting GameStop by 10% through the offering, but you're coming away with 12.5% more shares, right? Something like this. And that's really what we want. And, if we can take advantage of that indefinitely, that's perfect. That's like the infinite money glitch, right? GameStop squeezing, sure, whatever, that's fine. That'll be okay as well, I guess. But I don't mind if it takes a long time. I don't mind if this setup breaks down. And I'm saying that because what if the Burry news is just like general recommendation? Because he did say they would be recommendations for GameStop's future, right? So they could be things that are already common knowledge, like, if you break long-term support at X ratio of your, because I'm sure it'll be mathematic, a little bit more advanced than I'm willing to dive into right away. But he goes into it, and there's like math to support everything is the reason, right? So it could be just like a share buyback at like whatever X value, which doesn't really change things. Like, if we're buying our shares back at like 16 or 17, whatever, it doesn't really change things now, right? So that advice isn't tangible to our current situation for further upside, right? But it could be. I don't know what the post or what do they call it? What are the writers on these days? What is the platform called even? I don't know. Anyways, it's not Twitter. It's not Blue Skies. It's its own thing. I really don't know. I don't think you need to know. It'll be posted on Supersonic for sure, for free. But yeah, maybe the time to implementation isn't just some what if in the future, but what if it's like right now? What if he's like, GameStop should be doing this right now, and then next week Ryan's like, we're doing it. I can't say that it's not going to be like that, right? So it very much may be a sell the news event where there isn't the immediate implementation and the horizon's quite long and clouded. At which point the short sellers are going to attack. Don't kid yourself. There are going to be people selling naked calls like a motherfucker because it's a long time till earnings still, right? We've got 66 days till earnings. That's a lot of theta. Stock flow? No, it's the I'll find it. It's bugging me. Substack. That's what it's called. Domo coming back. We also had like another insider buy, not an insider, I should say, institutional based buy. Even though like super small fry, like I think Domo's got 18 and this other guy had like 1.8, but the little guy often advertises, right? And the bigger fish kind of don't and try to hide and obscure that information a lot of the time. So if the little guy's doing it, and Domo was around in 2021, we posted in the Discord the other day this PDF by them for Q2 2021. That's pre-squeeze, right? And they're kind of talking a little bit about their holdings here and their methodology behind their investments. So kind of small fry, but at the same time, they know what's up with GameStop because they've been here and were quite successful before. But I think a decent indicator, like birds of a feather, right? Just because a smaller firms are doing it, if I had to guess, it would also mean that the bigger firms would be doing it as well. We're going to have to wait for those filings to come out. I don't expect a lot of them necessarily right now, but it's like the next quarter between next earnings. Between this earnings and next earnings coming up, like 66 days to like whatever, 100 and whatever. I think we'll see lots at that point, right? Yeah, we'll maybe come stream if we get enough likes. Which is crazy because I've done such a fantastic job guiding these entries and exits and just like narrating the whole thing. You'd think that there'd be more of an audience by now, honestly, which has just made me like kind of skeptical of the whole thing. Like, how much is dead internet actually relevant? And then you see these super popular streams, and probably the only reason that they're super popular is because they're being, pushed with false engagement to bait real people into a scam. And that's probably what's happening, and that's what, you're never going to get successful. If being wholeheartedly honest, no way, dude. That's what I'm putting it on anyways, because what's happening, man? But with that being said, I remain committed, right? We are here for the long run, and if we don't get successful, we don't get successful, right? The trades pay for the whole thing here, right? But I would appreciate the likes, and those likes help onboard other people because then the engagement is going on YouTube, right? The algorithm showing the videos to other people, and then they come and then they learn how to do this appropriately. And if everyone can do this appropriately, well, then we could squeeze the chain as a a community, right? And there's been so much anti-option sentiment on Superstonk. A, because they're selling you really bad options, right? They're selling you those calls a lot of the time that are meant to expire worthless, right? They're not meant to be profitable. And then simultaneously pushing you the narrative that, oh, the reason those options didn't work out is because options are bad. They're just gambling, right? So then, and then nobody learns, right? Because they're like, oh, I got wounded, and they're saying they're bad and not worth my time, so I don't get involved, right? When in reality, you could have been educating yourself, and the whole community could have been educating themselves, and we could really have some fun with some the volatility, right? But yeah, I suppose, and that's fine, and that's the thing, right? Is there were successful streams at the time where Kitty was doing his thing when he started it, right? Where a lot of that viewership should have been on Kitty's stream, right? But I don't know, it's weird. You have to think that a lot of it is inorganic, right? And then of course, once Kitty blows up, that's a whole nother situation, right? Like that's celebrity status and everybody's going to look. But I don't know. It doesn't really matter, I guess, right? I think it'll grow or it doesn't, and we'll just continue to grow ourselves, right? That's really the only important part, is that I continue to do this successfully. But I'll tell you what, this whole project has really helped myself within the consistency of my technical analysis and callouts, right? Just like my actual options trading myself, right? Because I am less likely to YOLO into a bad play because I'm advertising it, right? And I don't want, to be shitty in front of everybody else. So, you take the extra moment, you're like, oh, is this actually really good? Is this correct? And then, if it's not, you voice those concerns. And it's easy to skip past a lot of that if you're just doing it yourself in the moment, just letting it rip. So it has helped me quite a bit as well, right? So it's very much symbiotic, and I'm sure will continue to be so. Anywho, let's take a look at our. We've got what is this? Our first entry is a 6.66 to 1 risk reward, 4.67. Sorry. And this is a 1.78 so far. So, we're looking really nice on those entries. The Burry post is going to, at the very least, challenge this one-day downtrend. And it's all very orchestrated, I feel like, which makes me nervous. Like, I don't know. If we do break the one-day downtrend, I would probably expect a bigger move, truly. There is not a lot of active liquidity in the earnings gap, right? It's very dull here, and this just sliced right through it. Like, there's not any consolidation in this area. So it's there's a lot of inefficiencies here, and you could almost just treat it like an empty gap that's not been filled, because the fills were so abrupt every time. So maybe we reject in this area, right? Like break through the one day, get into the gap, and then reject. Again, this is going to depend on the post. If it's like, we're going now, or if it's like, hey, sometime in the future, I have no idea when, but then that's probably the down. But if it's like, we're doing it, then it's probably a go up. Go down, brutal. We'll try to, add some on the trends, because I think if it goes down, it's still just going to continue back up more into the future. But if it goes up, then we're on offering alert, right? Where you want to be basically at your computer or phone, whatever, every day at market close. And it's just like, is GameStop doing an offering? And, be ready to eject and have a plan for that, right? How many shares are you willing to sell, or percentage-wise, because you don't need the number, of your total when GameStop does an offering, right? Because we're going to do an offering, and we're going to get absolutely obliterated. For example, the bonds, a dilutive-based move. $28 down to 23 and a bottom of 21.50, right? It's uncomfortable, but that's how you raise cash for the company, and we're going to overcome it again. But do it again as well, right? Because that's a big part of how the game is played. So just, even if you just want to sell 1% and be like, oh, that did work. I turned 1% of my shares into 1.2% of my shares or whatever, right? Then at least you know that it has worked for you, and you can size up a little bit into the future. Because I think this is going to happen more. I don't know what kind of offering we'll have. I'm certain we'll have one. One would suspect it's going to continue to be warrants. I would anyways, but we could definitely have more bonds as well. And at the money, just generalized share offering. Less likely, but could be, right? I don't want to write that off either. Any ideas on what Burry's post is going to be like? I mean, that would help me out a lot if someone knew, right? His whole post just says, keep doing what you're doing. Keep up the good work, Ryan. And the crowd goes wild. That's got to be it, right? I'm certain of it. He's just going to say, keep up the good work, Ryan. Don't stop what you're doing. That's it. That's all of his advice. No, I don't know. In this world, though, actually, no. Not Burry. There's gonna be so much math involved that we're gonna guaranteed learn a thing or two, right? There's gonna be some equation or like metric that he's using that we're super unaware of, that we're gonna need to kind of familiarize ourselves with, and I don't know. I'm interested. I'll see what it is. Monday morning will be online, of course. Technically speaking, again, things look really strong, right? There's a lot of profit taking here, right? Because we were hitting those levels, right? As to be expected, but also, with that confirmed catalyst, a lot of buys here, prepping for that as well. Message retracted. Ooh, must have been a good one. I can't imagine it's going to be anything that be constructed as market manipulation. No, it would just be corporate action that would be in the best interest of the company. That's all I'm expecting. It's not going to be something like, GameStop's going to squeeze this week. Everybody buy in. Like, no, that's not even a possibility, right? But it could be recommendations on how to allocate capital, right? It could be recommendations on how to raise our earnings before interest, right? It could be recommendations to further strengthen our balance sheet, right? I think he won't like the Bitcoin investment, as he doesn't believe in crypto. Good. Maybe he advises him to issue some buybacks at some point. Yes, but I think we offered shares in the past at these levels. Now, I understand that changes things because the market cap is higher now when we're at 20 than it was then when we were at 20 and did those offerings, right? So it's a little bit different and still probably profitable, but I imagine that the number's lower than like 18 for that buyback to be considerable or of consideration. I don't know what else it could possibly be, to be honest. I'm not a professional by any means, specifically when it comes to corporate action like that. I'm interested though. I'm willing to see. Um, yeah, we know about them, but we know about most things. Um, for example, the first post that he made, there wasn't any new information there, right? But what it is an authoritative figure, right? It's like someone with authority in the niche space, right? Who you would actually listen to, confirming what you may be on the outside speculating, right? As a novice or something, right? And it's that confirmation that can drive conviction, because the uncertainty kills, right? Fear is the killer of the mind. And it can lead to hesitation, and then that can, get you as well. But if someone is like, no, this is it, and you trust that person's opinion, right? Because they're an authority in whatever space, then I think that certainly helps out a lot. So even if he says things that we quote unquote already know, what it's doing is providing us with confirmation of that, right? And then we can execute with conviction, and that's always super important as well. If he says, I don't think RC's a doofus, I'll be happy. What if he says he is? No, again, I don't think it's going to be elementary, right? I think it's going to be very professional, right? Like, he is looking to onboard people to Substack, right? In which he apparently is doing a very good job of. 200,000 subscribers at fucking $40 a month. Oh, wait. Yeah. But I'm sure he'd like to continue to maintain and even maybe potentially grow that, right? So it's going to be of quality. It's going to be of substance, and I am certain it will be mathematically based and not just conjecture. You think we'll get a kitty live stream? I don't think we'll get a kitty live stream. That would be crazy. Fucking guy broke the internet last time. That shit was wild. Even the reverb from his speakers back into the microphone, man, now that is classic. Just ruined everybody's speakers. I don't think it was intentional either, but it happened. I loved it. Yeah. Maybe you do. Maybe we do. What if he came back full time? Oh my God. Wouldn't I be happy? It's a lot of work though. It's a lot of risk, I think. And he's getting older, he's got his daughter or whatever. It's a lot of hours, right? When you could be spending them with your family at that point. Like he's kind of already done it. Like he, as far as winning life goes, nailed it. Now he just needs to go enjoy it. And if he honestly, a tweet here and there does so much for the company already that I don't think a live stream is necessary or in his best interest as far as committing time to the rest of his life. But maybe if he likes it, maybe he's just like, man, I want to stop by and just say hello. That would be cool too. But I don't know. I don't expect anything like that. Maybe some tweets. Sure, but the live stream was a little much. I feel like it's too many eyes on you. It makes you uncomfortable. specifically at that level, I'm sure. Who knows though? I'm just grateful for that last return, right? Because it's that last return that allowed GameStop to generate the amount of cash to really secure their future, right? And so we all, have so much more because of that. Like, not saying that it wouldn't have went without, but not to that extent, right? I think we could get some tweets. I think that's totally reasonable, right? I would concede to that for sure. I mean, I'd be fucking talking some shit for sure. But you got to do it, in meme form. I don't really have too much to say today. What did we talk about the last couple days? Oh, we bought some lottos that did not print. Yeah, like we bought some 24s at open that definitely lost value. But we keep they're what $3 each. You get 10 of them, $30. It's whatever. It's not crippling anyone. And like I said, we should all be green enough to give back $30 of our profit, right? Like, but what if GameStop squeezed? What if this move happened over here and we didn't? I didn't really time bottom well, and they were a little bit out of the money, or like the 23s. We should have been buying 22s. Is what we should have been buying, but then they're more expensive, and it's its own thing. But so that didn't pan out. But we also bought some 24s for next week, right? February 6th, 22s. Not a great score, but like the options play doesn't know about Burry's post on Monday, right? So we're going to probably sell these on Monday, sell the news, because they're really bad. Like, these are not entry model trades. These are very much, kind of higher risk trades. So you don't want to size in too aggressively. Like, I think the score on those other ones was like 180 or something in comparison to a 63 here. So if we hit 25, 170%, that's fine. You can risk a little bit on this. Again, don't return too much of your profits from the real trade, right? But again, I think there's a good opportunity on these. And I'm fairly certain that they'll be green because we timed a reversal, right? Someone's like, I'll try to time this afternoon's reversal with some calls for next week, right? We said that at, and then this is at 9:10 where we're recommending it. Here's that reversal at 9:10. It's a confirmed reversal up here, but this is, kind of where we were suspecting it at that 9:10. So really close to bottoms, right? And we're just off that low invalidation here, which is awesome. So really good timing there on those calls for everybody, even though our zero DTE ones got roasted, but the profits should cover that easily. And then I'm obviously the best Wall Street analyst that there is. No doubt about it. Fielding some questions, kind of sharing Domo's story from the past here. Not a big player, but someone who Kitty followed, right? And engaged with. And I guess as he was basically leading the GameStop thing, that you try to rally everybody under one flag and keep them happy, basically keep them engaged. Which is why I'm saying I don't really care about the size of these buys, right? And yeah, it's a little bit of a smaller buy-in. I get it, right? But they're going to stack up, right? And there's going to be more people coming in like that, bigger players, specifically after Ryan's compensation plan. And now we're talking about Greeks a little bit. They're curious on Vanna. Vanna is the delta or the change or rate of change in or of Vega, right? not necessarily important to know, right? I just look at Vega. You don't necessarily need to know how fast your Vega is changing, but you can if you want. I just monitor it in real time. It very much is something you'd look at intraday, I feel like. But again, I'm not an options expert. I just know a thing or two. And yeah. How long have we been here? Have we filled the void? I don't even know. 35 minutes? Whoa! We're way over quota. Any questions? I wish I had more to say. We can take a look at a couple more things. Let me save this. Let's go to Kitty. Yeah, the RSI, we want to go. We want to go so bad. This looks great too. Continuing to diverge, right? We're at peak divergence here, basically. Now we just need to fucking hold it. Hold it. Just hold it as we climb up for day after day after day after day. But it might be sell the news. It could be just a spike and you're done. So just be aware of that, right? And again, look where we're getting to. Is that gap. Barely filled. Barely filled. It could be another barely fill, but maybe we invalidate and it's, rock and roll town. Let's check out the 4 hour here quick as well. Because that's going to be our exit, right? When this is going and this reverses like it did here, right? That's like, oh, we better, start to scale out if we haven't, right? Really protect our positions if we have a reversal on the PMO and moving average here, the blue and pink line. But right now, looking good. Looking good. So we love that. Let me jump over here quickly as well. Do. Aziz, light. So I just first want to show you something. We want one of these bullish trend following. Ignore the company. Has recently experienced a pullback with a longer-term bullish trend that may provide a favorable risk-reward for a bullish trade. Right? And you get this little idea here. There's lots of the different ones. This is a bullish counter trend, right? So we get these little trade ideas on the chart automatically, bullish and bearish, and we are just waiting for the day that GameStop puts one up. We certainly hope it's soon, because it will automatically. But this is our CCI, and we are spiking. But the spike is just the start, right, of what could potentially be a longer run. Now, this was a buy up into the warrants, right? But where we need to be careful is when we break below, right? So we really want to be careful of this transition where we really start to trend downwards towards zero from the 100, right? Because there's a long way to go to minus 100, and it could go lower, of course, right? Like this is a minus 350 or something, 325. So it's similar to RSI, right? And it's been as high on the squeeze as 400, right? 422 or something, 433. Similar to RSI, but it's not capped. RSI goes from 0 to 100. This is has a median at 0 and expands outwards, right, to like 400 plus, as you see in there. So a little bit more sensitive, and you can get a better look at everything. So we really want it's okay if it comes down a little bit, but we don't want to lose that trend, right? That positive 100, so you can see where it's highlighted red. And then when we lose that and it's just like kind of clear, right? Or translucent or whatever the fuck. And then specifically when it goes from that and loses the 0. So we just need to be careful, but for now things look great. If you want to be bullish on the stock, I think that this is probably one of our better plays long term, and we're going to be buying at the money, buy to open 22, selling out of the money, which is 27. And these are actually worth quite a bit. And, so I don't think that's terrible. Pretty decent idea, because if we come back here, you'll see that our support is at 19, but we've got that resistance at 28. So the 27s are basically at that resistance level where if it did go, it would smash down. So I don't mind these. I think that's a better play than just buying the calls in general, right? Unless you're just going to sell these immediately, right? If you're just going to take them and then sell the news, in a couple of days like we are, then that's fine. But if you were looking to capitalize off of, a week or two, or like how many days to expiry are these? 55 days, which is fine because, earnings in 66 days. So it still gets you out before the pre-earnings run up. I think that this is probably a little bit safer, a little bit smarter way to allocate your money, as indicated by that 112 versus the 72. But that 72 is up from, like, these things do change in real time, right? It was only a 63 when we bought it, right? So things are looking up, looking very squeezy. But we know what happens during that time. We may not even get a squeezy. We might just get a bleedy, unfortunately. But if it was ever to look good, I'm going to let you know that it is right now. The big question is, can we break this downtrend? This one-day downtrend is our first boss. And I think that if the Burry's post holds anything tangible, we're doing it, right? This is good, and we probably fill the earnings gap and hopefully, can maybe challenge some of these higher levels, at which point, we're in a dilution zone, right, where we can potentially capitalize off of that. Because the price will not trend upwards forever. So we should take advantage of it as a company to generate more cash that we can invest to raise our interest before our earnings, before interest, right? So it's a long road. I know it's an exciting time. Monday morning, he said, which is good. Because everybody's going to be looking for a play on Monday morning. And if GameStop is squeezing on Monday morning and it's on everybody's scanner, right, then that's good, because then we get a lot of FOMO, right? And then, maybe we're squeezing the weekly chain, right? And then maybe that sets up some delivery for the weeks following if we can get enough calls deep enough in the money. And this is all, kind of, I hate to be that guy, but as expected, right? I've been calling this run up for some time, right? It was we need to wait for OPEX to pass, and then it's like a week past OPEX, a week and a half, and then we're really looking good. And that's right where we're at, and we're looking real good, right? So, I think we do pretty good with our technical analysis and generalized guidance for everyone. And again, it's really helped me as well, because I've got my feet to the fire now, right? There's accountability rather than just brushing off, a bad play, just forget about that. But if I make a bad play to all you guys, I probably won't be forgetting about that, right? So we make sure that it's good and we double check everything. So with that being said, the setup is looking really juicy. Of course, I'd want to be in already before the news. I don't want to be buying, I wouldn't probably be buying on Monday, because it's very much likely a sell the news event where we get all this hype, but the price slams because everybody's taking profits, right? And everybody's selling the news. And this is super duper common in the industry. And I honestly suspect it. However, I don't know what the news is, and it could be more tangible than I suspect, at which point, maybe the market rallies behind it, and maybe we can squeeze out some shorts, because everybody who's short on GameStop for the last month is underwater in 3 days. So if they didn't close out those shorts, lickety split, and if they did, that's probably a little bit of buy side pressure as they they come through, right? We'll see. I'm interested. I think things look really good, but I think that we've got this one day to overcome and the earnings gap to overcome. But if we do that, then, I definitely see 24.5. I see 25.2. And, if things really go 27, 27.20, at which point this is a massive rejection zone, right? A lot of potential rejection here. However, if you invalidate an order block, you get a breaker block, and it would be the exact same pattern here, right? This was an order block that we invalidated that I've got outlined. Literally the exact same as this will be in the future, right? Here's our order block. Here I've got the gap outlined. So if we can invalidate this and convert it into what's called a breaker block, just basically bearish to bullish, resistance to support. It's super basic. There's some math behind it, but I don't think you need to know that. Then it looks good, right? And then instead of resistance, like I said, it's support, and then you really get into some scarier territory, right? Because there's going to be the unwinding of the warrants, potentially that arbitrage hedge, which we see in December 2027 $5 puts. There's like 200 and some thousand of them. So we'll have to watch those. And if the number of those starts to decrease, we should see the price come up more, right? And then, the longer all of those things happen, the higher chance that we'll have another dilution-based move. We'll go forward, right? Like, I don't think it's going to trend upwards forever. Like, I know people want to just do the math on their shares and say, okay, I made GameStop's worth $2,000 a share. That's perfect. And in theory, it will be, but there's going to be, the market cap will receive that, but they could be doing these dilution-based moves, right, where they're taking that cash and putting it into the market cap, which reduces the price, right? It does increase the floor, right, which is fine, but we're going to take the floor from $16 to $18, but we're going to take the price from $33 down to $25, right? So that's, the equivalency is not quite there. It's a little bit exacerbated. And that's what gives you the opportunity as a trader to take advantage of that volatility, right? Anything before I go? Of course, I'll be in the Discord. If you can't think of it right now, that's okay. Drop it in the Discord, and I'll probably answer it within the freaking minute. Yeah, I'm excited. I really don't know what to expect, but good things come to those who wait. And I'll tell you what, we're probably the most patient group in Wall Street. These people don't wait around for stuff like this. So continue to take advantage of everything. Have it work out in your favor. Don't expect $1,000 per share. Expect market cap increase, because we could, do those moves. And I'm not saying they're bad. I think they're good, and it gives you an opportunity to take advantage of the volatility as well, which I honestly think is better. But an unpopular opinion, right? People just want to set it and forget it, and they want to be, gazillionaire into the future. And, I'm sure they'll do quite well as still, but we can do better, right? So I'll see you guys all later. Take care.